Hello, happy Sunday. Welcome back to KXAN Plus. I'm your host, Esmeralda Zamora, and today we have our Tommy's Travel Forecast, where we look at the weather for the entire week across the entire nation with meteorologist Tommy House. Tommy, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Good. How has your day been so far?
It's been busy, but it looks beautiful outside. We can see on our cam we have some great weather this Sunday, so that's good.
Yeah, a little bit of decrease in clouds and thankfully dry for... I know there's a lot of big weekend activities here in Central Texas.
Yeah, we do have that big event in Georgetown, and I think we have a couple more south of Austin, so great weather for all those folks out there.
That's right. Absolutely.
So what are we going to dive into today?
Yeah, so this is not necessarily a Central Texas forecast. The travel forecast is more for what's happening across the country. And to our north, this is through the plains and even the northern Midwest. That's where we're tracking a big severe weather outbreak that is set to be getting going starting tomorrow. And then we're going to see some severe weather impacts through Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Wednesday into Thursday, that could be a little bit closer to home. So we'll wrap up with that in a few minutes. But first, big picture across the country, there's really not too much happening at the moment. There's one severe weather alert down in the panhandle of Florida. But this giant blob of clouds and rain and snow way out toward the Rockies, that's our next low pressure system that will amplify and create some pretty nasty weather for states like Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin on Monday, and then through Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we could be seeing some effects of that same storm system here in northern Texas. So that includes Dallas, even south to Waco, and in the Austin area, we could see some excessive rainfall. So it's busy the next few days. We've been in this weather pattern now where we've had mostly cloudy skies and humidity with some scattered showers and storms. We're going to take a break today, tomorrow, and then that comes back in starting on Tuesday into Wednesday.
I don't know about you, Tommy, but this past week I thought the weather was great with the little bit of showers that we had.
Yeah, right.
Just a couple sprinkles here and there, but it did feel great. It made the air feel a little cooler than it was normally.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to start by showing the weather pattern of what's happening. That low pressure out in the Rockies that I mentioned will continue to move over the Four Corners Monday night into Tuesday. While that's happening, at the upper levels, we're going to be seeing at the surface some pretty strong to severe storms, as I mentioned. And look how long this sticks around. By midweek, Wednesday, Thursday into Friday, finally pulling away the plains to the Midwest and Northeast. And by next Friday, we have our next low pressure system way out off the coast of California in the Pacific Northwest there. So, it's going to be very busy. May is one of those months where every 3 to 5 days we see our next big storm system move through. So in Texas, at least, we're going to be actively forecasting numerous days of storms in the coming few weeks, but it just so happens to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. A lot of that's going to be well up to the north of us.
Wow. So we will get a little, but towards the end of the week, right?
Yeah, toward the end of the week. As far as today is concerned, we do have just a dry line with the level 2 out of 5 through Texas. That extends up toward Kansas and Nebraska and the Dakotas. But Monday into Tuesday, that same storm system that I just showed you with the weather pattern graphic, it's going to be putting out a positive tilted trough. If you don't know what that means, it's a lot to explain. I have a blog about it on kxan.com. But here is the dip in the jet stream, and you can see through New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, and Nebraska, we have those arrows coming in. Those are winds that are going to be at the upper levels out of the southwest that are just going to be ripping way above the surface, and that's going to be allowing the possibility for some rotations, some strong tornadic storms, and damaging winds. So we have a level 4 out of 5 by the Storm Prediction Center for Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Minneapolis is a big city with millions of people in that metroplex. Level 3 out of 5 for Omaha, 2 out of 5 Chicago to Wichita, and then even maybe the big country in Texas could be seeing some storms from the dry line as well.
Tommy, I want to continue this conversation, but let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Cool.
And we're back here with Tommy's travel forecast. Tommy, we were talking about severe storm threats coming to near Austin or North Austin on Tuesday. What else can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so by Tuesday itself, notice that level 2 out of 5 gets a little bit closer to home out toward the hill country. This extends through northern Texas, the southern plains, and eventually works its way up to the Midwest and Northeast. You have that level 3 out of 5 for Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. This includes cities like Buffalo and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Columbus, Ohio. Ooh, the marker kind of has a little mind of its own there. But yeah, level 3 out of 5 if you're flying to places like Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York on Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, we have a possible severe weather. Look at this. This is just north of Austin toward Waco, moving up I-35 to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Fort Worth is in this as well. Tyler, Texas, just north and east of St. Angelo. So, Monday, Tuesday is going to be north of Texas for the most part of the bulk of the action. By Wednesday, that gets a little bit closer to home here. So that's when Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're going to be watching the radar very closely at the First Warning Weather Center.
So if anyone is planning to travel this week, just keep in mind that there's going to be showers out there, right?
Yeah, especially Dallas for Wednesday, I think is going to be pretty tough if you're flying or landing or having some sort of in-between layover in northern Texas. And as far as the trends are concerned, April is going to wrap up stormy, as I showed you, with the potential for some really strong severe weather in the plains in the Midwest. And that's going to carry through at least Texas and farther south and west to kick off May. The Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10-day rainfall outlook from May 3rd to May 7th. You'll notice the wetter than normal trend. This is just confidence in more rain in a week standpoint. This goes out toward Vegas, LA, San Francisco, Denver, Colorado, all the way up to Seattle. And then a bit of a break from the action where we're seeing some severe weather tomorrow and Tuesday for Minneapolis, Chicago, St. Louis, into portions of the deep south. East Coast could see some rain as well. Temperature-wise, warmer than normal across most of the lower 48. For us locally, that means 80s and 90s, which we have in our 7-day. But bottom line is May is one of the busiest, if not the busiest, severe weather month, especially from a local standpoint here in Texas. So you'll notice on the 7-day forecast here with this final graphic I want to show you, we're going to be having a mix of some clouds and sunshine tomorrow, kind of like today. And then we're right back to it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Could see a slowed stall front, keeping a lot of that moisture and rain chances and thunderstorm fuel around into next weekend. And I would bet that next Sunday for our next travel forecast, we're going to be talking about the same thing, right? More storms, hopefully not specifically in the Austin metro area. But you'll see in my forecast coming up at 5 on KXAN, I'm thinking at least a solid inch of rain through the 15 counties locally here. Could we see some more up toward Waco and Dallas, perhaps 3-4 inches of rain? So it's much needed. Let's just hope it all doesn't fall at once.
Yeah, I mean, we were waiting for April showers. April has come and gone, but hopefully we get all those showers throughout May because it is much needed, right? Much needed,
absolutely. And, so make sure you have a way to receive severe weather alerts. KXAN First Warning Weather app is a great resource. You have, severe thunderstorm warnings. You can adjust and pick and choose which warnings you want to see. We have lightning detection, your Doppler radar, and ways you can look at storm systems. And we manually update those hourly and daily forecasts on here. So it's not just some computer model like typical default smartphone
Apple
apps.
Weather app, yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to mention that you can also turn notifications off for things you don't really want to be notified. If that's rain or if that's temperatures, you can just turn them off and keep the important ones on.
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial, especially, in severe weather season, to have some sort of access to life-saving information. So, our team of 6 meteorologists here, we're dedicated to giving you the latest forecast. Of course, this segment is big picture across the country, but for every single person who's living in Central Texas that just wants Central Texas weather, KXAN.com/weather will have the latest there.
Yeah, and we do have your article that you published just right now, actually, on our homepage at KXAN.com. Before we leave, Tommy, can you give us a recap of what Tommy's travel forecast is going to look like moving forward and what we're going to be talking about at each segment that we host?
Yeah, so we're looking for big weather stories across the country. What's the trend? And of course, the trend in this situation is a level 4 out of 5, which is relatively rare speaking for storms. I get a little bit into the science of it, what causes this outbreak. Obviously, there's the positive tilted trough, the winds at the upper levels. I explain how that contributes to a strong storm when it interacts with the trough. And pretty intense wind shear there. And then just a little more detailed, the severe weather elements, tornadoes, hail, and wind are possible. And then, we have options to get a more local forecast there as well.
Well, thanks for joining me, Tommy. It was a pleasure to have you this Sunday, and I'm excited to talk more about rain next Sunday with you.
Yeah, hoping we a week out from now can talk about all the rain we've had here in Texas.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you.